Donald Trump continues to claim Iran is a big success, but how exactly? Look closer, and the two sides remain inches away from a deadly escalation, it seems. In fact, given the developments over just the last 24 hours, it would be safe to say that Iran and the US are back to the brink of war, and the situation in West Asia remains volatile. Look at the statements being given out, and you would think the situation is under control, at least as per Trump. It is. In fact, he reportedly said Iran has agreed not to have a nuclear weapon and that he would probably meet with the supreme leader of Iran at some point if things work out. While speaking about Iran, he told Pod Force One in an interview broadcast on Wednesday, reportedly, that they have already agreed they are not going to have a nuclear weapon. That's what he claims. But the tensions continue to flare up. Meanwhile, Iran earlier reportedly said it targeted US bases in Kuwait and Bahrain and a vessel near the Strait of Hormuz. This came after the US military reportedly used a Hellfire missile to hit a Botswana-flagged oil tanker heading toward an Iranian port on Kharg Island. Among the Iranian strikes, one attack killed an Indian national at Kuwait's airport and injured more than 60 others. According to Kuwait's foreign ministry, the strike had among the highest number injured in the region in an Iranian strike since the fighting started. The Indian Ministry of External Affairs has condemned the Kuwait Airport attack, once again strongly urging, like it has since the start of the conflict, that civilian population and civilian infrastructure must not be targeted, calling upon the parties to cease such attacks. The US military, in fact, says Iran fired 60 missiles at Kuwait and Bahrain. According to the US, Iran fired missiles towards Kuwait and Bahrain, but they failed to hit their targets. The two fired at Kuwait fell apart en route, while the US and Bahraini forces intercepted the missiles aimed at Bahrain, reportedly. In fact, the US Central Command has said it responded with strikes on an Iranian military ground control station on Kashmir Island in the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard saying they targeted the headquarters of the US Navy's 5th Fleet in Bahrain and another country in its attack without naming Kuwait. It said it launched its attack in response to the US firing a missile into the engine room of another oil tanker, trying to reach Iran despite the US blockade. Iran earlier also issued a stern warning. The country warned that the era of hit and run is over. But here's the thing, a lot also depends on what happens in Lebanon. And as of now, the situation there remains questionable. The hostilities have continued despite that US-mediated agreement that led Israel to step back from attacking the Hezbollah-controlled southern suburbs of Beirut and the Iran-backed group to halt cross-border strikes as well. Trump, meanwhile, has been active as usual online. What has he been saying? In fact, the president earlier posted an image of himself in some kind of a mirror or set of mirrors, creating that distorted effect in the reflection. As you can see, the caption saying, Trump 007. So that's Trump's latest claim amid all that's been happening, presenting himself as the British super spy, James Bond. Also in what comes across as a major embarrassment for the United States. According to a BBC report, Iran has damaged 20 US military sites since the start of the war itself. The report saying satellite images and videos analyzed by BBC Verify show this, suggesting the attacks are more extensive than publicly acknowledged. Where does that leave us? Does the latest round of tensions mean Trump has not been able to rein in Netanyahu? And the question remains, what happens here onwards between Iran and the US? Given the latest developments and the action on the ground, will a breakthrough emerge, or will the region continue to remain on edge, just inches away from a full-blown war? Even as Israel fought on multiple fronts, whether it's Iran, the continuing hostilities with Hamas, the clashes with Hezbollah, The country's defense industry reportedly achieved an unprecedented milestone while all that has been happening. Far from slowing demand, the conflicts appear to have strengthened global interest in Israeli military technology, as Israel recorded its highest ever annual defense exports in 2025, marking a fifth straight year of record-breaking sales. And according to reports, Israel's defense exports surged nearly 30%, reaching almost $19.2 billion in 2025. And that, by the way, is up from the previous record of $14.8 billion in 2024. The Asia-Pacific region registered one of the sharpest increases. Israeli arms sales there climbed from roughly $3.4 billion in 2024 to $6.1 billion in 2025. The increase followed a series of reforms approved by Israel's defense ministry last year. Those measures included what the Israel Defense Ministry reportedly described as a significant easing of export licensing requirements and a substantial expansion of the list of countries eligible to receive Israeli defense exports. And as per reports, government-to-government deals accounted for more than half of the total exports, generating around $10 billion, while 53% of all exports came from contracts valued at more than $100 million each. In fact, the demand reportedly remains strong in Europe, despite some Western European governments cancelling contracts, sanctioning Israeli defense firms, or excluding them from defense exhibitions because of the war in Gaza. According to Israeli officials, Israel's quote-unquote unprecedented operational achievements during recent multi-front conflicts, including 2 major rounds of fighting with Iran, drove international demand for Israeli military technology and helped exports cross the $19 billion mark for the first time. Europe, meanwhile, emerged as the largest buyer, accounting for 36% of the total exports, or $6.9 billion. That figure was boosted by Germany's $4.6 billion purchase of the Arrow 3 long-range missile defense system. In fact, the Asia-Pacific region followed with 32% of exports. North America, meanwhile, accounted for 13% of exports, while Latin America and Sub-Saharan Africa each represented 2%. West Asia and North Africa accounted for 15% of the Israeli defense exports, up from 12% in 2024. Which, by the way, includes countries like the UAE, Bahrain, Morocco. Remember, during the recent Iran war, Israel sent an Iron Dome air defense system and personnel to the UAE. And according to reports, air defense systems, missiles, rockets represented the largest export category, standing at 29%. Surveillance systems and optoelectronics jumped sharply to 22% from 6% a year earlier. Manned aircraft and avionics, radar and electronic warfare systems, and command and control technologies, meanwhile, also contributed significantly to Israel's record-breaking export figures. On to Japan now. The country is reportedly grappling with growing concerns over the treatment of its Muslim community. Several reports of alleged harassment, misinformation, anti-immigrant sentiment continue to surface. In fact, according to a report by the South China Morning Post, discrimination against foreign residents in Japan is increasingly being felt by Muslims as well, reportedly. These sporadic incidents were once primarily directed towards Korean and Kurd communities. The report flagged mosques across Japan are receiving a barrage of abusive phone calls, threatening emails, and online harassment. Community leaders are also warning that misinformation spreading on social media is fueling fear, suspicion, and hostility, allegedly. The concern coming at a time when Japan's Muslim population is growing. According to a professor studying Islam at Waseda University, reportedly, the number of Muslims in the country rose from about 230,000 in 2019 to an estimated 420,000 by the end of 2024 itself. Japan now has more than 160 mosques nationwide. According to the South China Morning Post, several incidents have highlighted the rising tensions. Last year in Osaka, a false rumor reportedly circulated online, claiming that a mosque was broadcasting the Islamic call to prayer at high volume during the early hours of the morning. Community members saying the claim was misleading, but it spread widely on social media. In February, a series of suspicious fires broke out at a mosque and a used car showroom operated by Pakistani nationals in Abetsu, reportedly. The incident was further investigated by the authorities. Several mosque projects have also faced local opposition, reportedly, with disputes emerging in different parts of the country over construction plans and community concerns. In one such case, a mosque built by Pakistani nationals drawing flack, authorities say the structure was built without the required permits, allegedly under Japan's city planning regulations. And according to the Kawagoe City Hall, the municipal government administrative center of the city, the mosque was built in an urban development control area where construction is generally prohibited unless specific permissions are secured under the City Planning Act. The case is now under review for possible demolition. Meanwhile, the Pakistani embassy has distanced itself from the project, saying all religious construction must comply with the local laws. It clarified that Ambassador Abdul Hamid attended the inauguration of the mosque after being informed that all permits under Japanese law had been properly secured. The embassy urged Pakistanis to fully comply with the Japanese laws. In Japan, community consultation is regarded as an important part of development projects, particularly when new structures could affect neighborhoods. It remains to be seen if the structure stays or is demolished based on the city council's decision. Mosquitoes are a menace. They are humanity's deadliest enemy, perhaps. According to WHO, they cause an estimated 700,000 deaths worldwide every year. And now a Google-linked project reportedly wants to release 32 million mosquitoes in the US in an effort to curb their numbers and help stop the spread of disease. Our next report explaining the science behind the move and also the reactions it's getting.
They kill more humans than sharks, snakes, lions, and crocodiles combined. Every year, mosquitoes spread deadly diseases to millions across the world. They are among the smallest creatures on Earth, yet they are responsible for more human deaths than any other animal. For decades, governments have spent billions trying to control them. Sprays, traps, and pesticides have all been used, but the battle has never truly been won. Now, scientists want to try something very different. A company called Verily, owned by Google's parent company Alphabet, is seeking approval from US Environmental Protection Agency to release up to 32 million specially bred mosquitoes across parts of California and Florida over the next 2 years. The proposal has ignited a fierce debate. At the center of the plan are male mosquitoes infected with a naturally occurring bacterium known as Wolbachia. The males do not bite people, but when they mate with wild female mosquitoes, the eggs fail to develop properly. Over time, mosquito populations can shrink dramatically.
Mosquito é método natural.
It's a natural, self-sustaining method because once we implement it, we don't need to come back to it. And it's safe because Wolbachia doesn't spread to humans. It won't cause illness in humans and won't cause any problems for the environment or for other animals.
The idea may sound like science fiction, but it has already been tested. The Google-backed firm had already released 1 million sterile mosquitoes in California in 2017. Another trial conducted by a British company, Oxitec, was deemed a success in 2022. Supporters say the method could become a powerful weapon against mosquito-borne illnesses, but critics remain unconvinced. The proposal has triggered concern among some environmental groups. Tennessee Republican Representative Tim Burchett is questioning the move, warning against interfering with nature. For supporters, the project represents a breakthrough in the fight against one of humanity's deadliest enemies. For critics, it is a giant experiment unfolding in the real world, and as the debate intensifies, millions of mosquitoes have become the center of a battle over science, safety, and public trust. Bureau Report, WION World is One.